Today's class we will see about the lecture method. Lecture method is one of the important method. It will be always asked in the 15 mark questions either in the MSc nursing or the BSc nursing. The question will be classify the different types of teaching learning strategies and explain in detail about the lecture method. What is the origin of the lecture method? The lecture method was origin age-old method. In the past olden days, there was a scarcity of the books and there was a very costly. Also, everybody cannot afford it. So, in that time, the teacher will be learning all the books and will be standing in front of the students and orally and transform or they explain the knowledges or they share the knowledge in front of the students. So, how to start write this method? This method we can write it simply lecture. How you can write LECTURE lecture. You can write it L means you can write it as a lively, because it's not like your computer teacher or AI teacher is coming. The live teacher is coming and standing in front of you. And educative, she is educating according to the levels of the students. And C is a creative. Every lecture will be different form she will be taking. In a creative narrative stories or live examples. T is the talented or the trustworthy. You can trust the teacher. And the thought provoking, you can write any one thought provoking. And then U is understandable. And R is either you can tell is a realistic or relevance, related stories or relevant stories she will be telling. E is she will be encouraging, she will be enthusiastically taking lecture, or she will be engaging the students by asking questions and creative telling stories or make the students to ask entertain. And it is one of the traditional methods, as I told you. What are all the characteristics of a lecturer? The lecturer characteristic of a lecturer we will see first. Lecturer should have a mastery of content, because when she is standing in front, how it should be the mastery of content. She is in a, like the maxims of teaching, everything she will be handling. Though the big topic she is dealing, she should have a mastery of content, but she has to think about the level of the students who are listening. She is not always will be the high level. Also, she should remember the students who are in a low achievers, low performance. It should be the simple to complex. She has to deliver the lecture with a good example, in a creative manner, with the enthusiastic manner, and adaptability. The language should be used in a simple manner and good time management. You see, the content may be so big, but what happened? Only 30 minutes, 45 minutes you have to finish the topic. But what will happen? Only 20 minutes is the student's capacity to listen. So, how will you make them to listen your lecture? Maybe using some humor, what are the joke you are telling. As I told you, Dr. John Tanakmar used to come and take a classes for us. So when he was taking class, I forgot what he has taken. He talked about the surgeries, he talked about the laparoscopic, different types of surgery. In that time, 30 years before, he was telling about the robotics and other inventions, all these things. I forgot about in a detailed manner. But one thing I remember, the humor what he used. He told, when he was telling the symptoms of, he was telling about the pre-anesthesia, some symptoms. He was telling that vomiting. When he was telling vomiting, he is telling that, however the vomiting is severe, there should be only one T. So still, whenever till today I write vomiting, I remember Dr. John Tanakmar. So that is the humor, what we are telling about the related to the subject. What is the humor we are using? And the good time management, eye to eye contact to give the lecture, and the good body posture, and the language, whatever, communication in a nice manner, eye to eye contact, and good management and blackboard skill, everything we will be using. So how will you stand? These are all some of the characteristics of the lecturer. So another important some of the characteristics, she should be confident, very confident, standing in front of the student, and always to look at the audience, eye to eye contact, smile, and give pass wherever you want to give a pass. Not should be continuously, should be have some voice modulation. Sometimes you have to narrate, sometimes you have to concentrate, like that. So this is the characteristics of the important characteristics of the lecturer who are giving the lecture. And what are the types of lecture? Sometimes in a nursing, if you take lecture come demonstration, lecture come discussion, and then sometimes lecture come panel discussion, and then lecture come flip discussion, And sometimes lecture come demonstration, sometimes is a guest lecturer. Why it's a guest lecturer? Some of the important topic, for example, new subjects has been incorporated in nursing. Sometimes everything we may not have teachers, or we have to have experts. So during the experts are not available, you can ask the people to come as a guest lecturer. So the guest lecturer will be invited from outside. For example, forensic nursing or nursing informatics, some subjects you can call as a lecturer. Okay. What are all the main important advantages of a lecture? So the lecture method is one of the best method that you can. Time management is very good. Most of the subjects you can cover it very easily, and then so economic. Even the experts who are calling, you can spend little amount of money, and then it is really encouraging, and it is really motivating the students, and the real person, the real teacher is in front of them, and will well experienced teacher. One good lecturer is equal to more than 10 books. She can have that much knowledge. The students spending 10 hours in the library, one lecturer can give that much amount of the knowledge. So many advantages are there. She could understand the level of the students. She could understand the facial expression and the gestures, whether they understood or not. In this method we can identify. But there is a main I think not disadvantages, maybe I will tell as a limitation. What is the main limitation? It's like the teacher is actively participating. The teacher is the mastery of the content. She is the resource person. She is the full of knowledge. Here teacher is continuously speaking and the students are the passive listeners. Yes, sometimes teacher is asking some few questions, but in the position where the students are only listening. Whereas if you take the other methods like BBL or inquiry based learning or the problem based learning or critical thinking, so the project method, the students are equally participating and the teacher is playing the role of facilitator, or the moderator or mentor. She is playing a role. Here is the dominant role by the teacher. So what's happening? So the most of the time it's a one-sided. The teacher, the dominated method. But so many advantages are there. The good lecturer, as I told you, good voice modulation, good language, good communication, good posture. She can make them to understand very easily and identify, and using various other techniques, narrating skills, she can deliver this one. Okay, how as a student teacher, what are all the preparation, what are all the phases of preparing the lecture? So what are the three important phases? They are telling that preparatory phase and the developmental phase, and will be consolidation phase, or otherwise you can say this way, introduction phase and body of content and conclusion. So the introductory phase is very important. While I am telling, for example, I am taking about the digestive system. So I must make them in a good introduction say that how the digestion is important in our body. If the digestion not happen one day, how much amount of money we are going to spend it. The significance or the things you have to make them, the importance of the subjects. Electrolyte balance. Maybe creatively I bring one balloon or putting one hole. What is that? Introduction I am doing in a very creative manner. Saying that like balloon, students actually will be telling immediately, yes, water is lost, so the electrolyte imbalance, they will be telling. And still, what a creative if water is not there, it will go up to the death. So that one I have to, then you have to ask, did you anyone come across this situation where you did not have water? Like that I can ask them. Now one incident had happened, right or not? Any political leaders are conducting, people are staying long time. There is no water, scarcity of air, water and other things. Food, people are dying rather by the stampede injury, but most of them died without water and air and congestion also. So you have to relate with that and make the significance of that. Then the attention span of the students will be very good. The limitation, mainly I can say that only 20 minutes is the listening capacity of the students. Then more than that, you have to make them to understand. You have to narrate some stories and to take it as a relevance, and it should be very enthusiastically you have to do, and you have to voice modulation. Otherwise some teachers will be teaching, will be feeling like sleeping in the class. So that voice modulation, so that they will be alert all the time. So in this question has come, what is the definition? Definition you have to write. Definition is one of the, it's a on introduction you have to write. The lecture method is one of the age-old method which is used for the longer time, and 80% of all the collegiate program lecture is going on. Like that you can write introduction, and you can write the definition of lecture method, and you can write the LECTURE lecture, you can write that, and what are all the characteristics of good lecture and characteristic of good lecturer, and what are all the techniques or tips of giving the good lecture, and what are all the different types of lecture method. Lecture come discussion, lecture come demonstration, lecture come guest lecture, or the flip lecture, or the lecture come panel discussion, or anything you can write it. That is the types. And how to preparatory phase, developmental phase, consolidation phase, you can write it, or else introduction, body of content, and the conclusion you can write. Then any of the method you are writing, you have to remember about the advantages, and rather writing disadvantages, you can write it as a form of limitation, and you can write how to improve your lecture or some tips, you can write it. So I hope this question you can answer it. Thank you.